King Saud University and Al-Qasim campus. Again, it is very large campus, main campus and so on, but everything is organized in axis. And this is the way it looks today. Fuji Television headquarters buildings in Tokyo. Again, this is an idea of creating a communication space. In University of Bahrain, it was a galleria and also the coronate in a much more on the ground level. But here, we created three-dimensional gathering spaces. Even top of the studios is open space. Corridor, one of these things are not only the corridor, but we can gather around, etc. And then, of course, hall in the middle, symbolizing their logo mark, which is an eyeball. Again, we are talking about the sunshade. Of course, sun is very strong in this region. Here is in Singapore. This is a building that we created for the Chinese high school. Temperature is there a little bit more humid, but the temperature is quite high. But we have thought about that, how the air flows and so on. So this building is with a sunshade. We cool the area, and then at the same time, we don't have any air conditioning. We calculated which direction the wind blows and so on, and it's quite successfully comfortable. About access. This is the one that we have done in 49 hectares of land in Hong Kong. Access doesn't have to be straight. It could be different. It's a waterfront promenade. It should be more joyful. And we have done 50-story school building in Japan. Again, now we created vertical access. The access doesn't have to be horizontal. 3 schools. And everything mingles together. This is where a student can gather, even though it's a different discipline. That's where the new idea comes. And then 2009, we are quite fortunate to be called back to the Kingdom of Bahrain. University of Bahrain asked me to come back to relook at the master plan. Again, our philosophy hasn't changed, because what my father has started, we have to carry out at the same time in a modern way, or it's suited to today's needs. It was designed for 6,000 people. At this time, it was already expanded 3 times, 18,000 people, and today it's already expanded to more than 30,000 people, and it's growing. So, having all these architectural ideas of the 85 first campus, but then we are adding different elements like sustainability and so on, and we created a new master plan. This was a phase 1. As I keep on talking about this social spine and academic spine. So, and then one ring road was there. So we tried to expand another academic access on the other side, because one of the exercise that this was to create a College of Engineering, which will be placed here. And then revisit original master plan, which was here, to various other locations. For example, blue areas were designated for future investment. And then corner, there was already existing housing for the staff. And then middle secondary ring road was placed because it was increasing the population. And this is how we planned it in 2009. Of course, this future development area today is Amazon has taken over this area, and then a few more lands available, and staff housing is still here. And this area has been taken away. Originally it was a square block, so we shifted some of the axis. Original first phase, the axis will be leading to a new College of Engineering. So we were asked to do the College of Engineering. So on the axis of academic axis, we have created various schools. The sizes are quite similar, but we always have academic axis to be clearly defined. That ended up in a hall, and then we wanted to create the plaza, the focal point, and of course shading devices and so on is there so that it's more comfortable, but at the same time everybody will have a sense of belonging. And each different engineering schools were placed, but we wanted to make sure that it is in a right sequence of development. I'm not going to go into the planning part of it, but the facade of each building, we wanted the student to be proud of each discipline that they're belonging to. Architecture schools should have a little bit of feeling of maybe Mondrian, Le Corbusier's proportion or whatever, and then to create a new facade pattern. Civil engineers to mechanical engineer to chemical engineer, maybe DNA form and so on. So the building is very much identical in space, but the facade and the treatment will give the sense of place for each one of the student. If you're an architectural student moving into there, so you feel that, okay, I'm going into the architecture school. We cannot differentiate the shape too much because that is not going to be flexible in future, but we can do this kind of things by giving a sense of scale to the facade. Of course, sustainability at that time was very important, an eco-friendly building, so we have come up with all sorts of things. I'm not going to go into it, but those are the things that we have studied very carefully. Passive to active solar system and so on. But even the central plaza, where we have shading device, of course it's not only the shading device, but there's also solar panels and so on, and it has to be placed in the right angle to be maximized efficiency and create a better place. And from learning from that, we went through a variety of projects. This is in Hong Kong, 24-story shopping mall, talking about the identity of the places. First of all, it is a vertical axis with the various shopping malls, but these facades are representing each one of the functions. Cinemas, hyper mall, regular shopping mall, the residential, the terrace restaurant, and so on. People think 25-story shopping mall doesn't work, and usually it doesn't. But if you think of it, this 5-story shopping mall on top of each other, 5 of them. You see that in the main street of any developed countries. And city center mall, the Moda shopping mall, all these things, is one or two after another. I'm sure everybody will walk through those. Again, we have done American school in Japan. This is a very small project, but again, we created the new entrance. This is a pattern that we taken from the iron gate, which was originally this big, and it has these patterns. And during the war, the iron was very much scarce, so to hide, they buried this iron gate because it was a symbol of American school in Japan. They buried under the ground so that people would not take away. And so, to me, that kind of nostalgic or like a spirit of the school is very important. So we created very large scale iron gate. But I think some people would understand why we created this. It's a sense of memory, a sense of belonging. And every axis will have a terminus. So we are doing some of the buildings in different part of the world with a terminus building. This one is in Korea. We thought this would be like a Times Square building. Times Square building is all full of billboard, but we are creating a three-dimensional billboard building. And then, now coming back to, we are quite fortunate that the last few months we've been working very heavily on this university master plan. And this is the way it looks. I'm sorry, I cannot show you what the new master plan is, but this was current master plan site. You will see that Formula One circuit is here, and a new sports city will come in here, and various development will be coming. But how does this leftover spaces will meet the urban edge will be something that we have to really think about. Architecturally, we continue to understand the culture of Bahrain and sensitivity to light and shadow, and we try to continue this, again, in a modern way, a new interpretation. So we will not be seeing only this, but our expansion has a sense of scale, sense of place. However, interpretation will be different. This is our motto. With vision, we create buildings for people. Thank you very much.